Okay, so imagine your website analytics just told you your organic traffic dropped by 30%.
Yeah, that is immediate panic mode for most teams.
Totally. Like your chief marketing officer is absolutely freaking out. The executive board is demanding answers right
Right.
away.
I've been in those meetings. It's not fun.
Right. But then you pull up your actual revenue dashboard
Yeah.
and your sales haven't dipped a single percent.
Which just makes 0 sense on paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because your tracking platform isn't actually broken. It's just, well, entirely blind to the new internet.
It's a massive, massive blind spot.
So welcome to episode 12 of Fix the Funnel with a split second pause fix. Today's deep dive is tackling a problem that has, honestly, every data team pulling their hair out in early 2026.
Yeah, because we're talking about uncovering these massive waves of hidden AI traffic in Google Analytics 4.
Which is so crucial. We are pulling insights today from a really great article by Justin Gomes on GA4.ai. And the mission for this deep dive is to locate exactly where this invisible traffic is hiding and, how to forcefully bring it back into the light.
Because the context here is exactly what makes this scenario so baffling for you, the listener, and really for most analytics teams right now.
Yeah, set the scene for us.
Well, you sit down, look at your screen, and you see your direct traffic climbing like a mountain.
It's a huge spike.
Right. And meanwhile, your organic traffic looks completely flat or even like it's in a total free fall.
But it's not because, for a fact, your site is showing up in Google's AI search answers.
Exactly, because you're sitting there looking at your own deep links on your own phone.
Right. So it feels like a massive GA4 bug. It feels like an engineer at Google just forgot to flip a tracking switch or something.
I mean, we all wish it was just a bug. But it's actually a fundamental, intentional shift in how web browsers pass or, honestly, actively destroy referral data.
Okay, so if the data is actively being destroyed, we need to look at the source of the demolition, right? Like, what exactly is happening inside the architecture of the search engine right now?
We have to separate two overlapping features that constantly get conflated in these panic meetings. First, there are AI overviews.
Okay, those are the summary boxes, right?
Right, the generative summary boxes injected directly inside your standard search results. But second, you have AI mode, which functions as a completely separate, dedicated conversational search tab.
Got it. Two different things.
Yeah. But the core problem spanning both of these features is that GA4 does not natively possess a Google A label for either environment.
Wait, really? There's just no label at all?
Nope, there's no distinct refer label built into the platform for it.
Which feels incredibly counterintuitive. I mean, Google owns the search engine ecosystem, and they own the analytics platform.
You'd think they'd want them to talk to each other.
Exactly. Why would they want to build a bridge between the two to show marketers exactly how much traffic their new AI features are driving?
I know, you would think that would be the priority, but it comes down to the underlying mechanics of how these specific links are generated and, served to the end user.
Okay, walk us through that.
So when Google builds an AI overview, it frequently embeds the source citations and deep links using a no-refer attribute in the HTML.
A no-refer attribute. Break down the mechanics of that. Like, what does that attribute actually execute the moment someone clicks the link?
It basically acts as an absolute blackout curtain for data transmission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Historically, the refer header is how one website tells another, hey, I sent this user to you.
Right, standard tracking.
But when a user clicks a link inside an AI summary, the browser reads that specific command, the rel no-refer tag, and actively strips out the originating URL.
So it just deletes it.
It scrubs the refer data from the HTTP header before the request even leaves the search results page.
That is wild. It's essentially sending a data packet through a witness protection program.
That's a great way to put it, actually.
Like, the browser scrubs the fingerprints off the packet the exact millisecond the user clicks the AI link. So the user arrived at your site like a session is triggered, but your analytics platform has absolutely no historical record of where they came from.
Precisely. And without that originating signal, GA4's attribution logic essentially panics.
It doesn't know what to do.
Right. It evaluates the incoming visitor, sees zero referral data, and just defaults to throwing the visit into your generic Google organic bucket if there happens to be lingering search context.
And if there isn't?
If the data is entirely wiped, which is more frequent, it dumps the session straight into your direct traffic bucket.
Ah, Okay, that explains the mountain of direct traffic people are seeing.
Exactly.
So if you're listening to this deep dive right now and staring at a dashboard where your direct traffic has spiked inexplicably over the last few months, you shouldn't assume your brand awareness suddenly went viral.
No, definitely not.
You have to assume Google AI mode is actively masking those visits.
And this creates a severe strategic blind spot, because if you misinterpret that traffic as just generic direct visitors, you might assume, oh, they're returning customers who bookmarked your site.
Right, people who already know you.
Yeah, but in reality, they are brand new prospects discovering you through a highly specific AI query.
Which means you end up optimizing your marketing spend and your website architecture for the completely wrong audience profile.
Exactly, you're flying blind.
Okay, but let's pivot here. If Google is running this massive witness protection program on its referral data, are we completely flying blind across the entire AI landscape?
Well,
Like, is every single AI chatbot erasing its tracks right now?
no. And that is where we find our analytical leverage.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. While Google's ecosystem is highly opaque in this, 2025 to 2026 window we're in, many of the major third-party AI tools actually do pass reliable referrer data.
So we aren't entirely in the dark if we know where to look. Let's name names. Who is actually passing the data we can track?
The heavy hitters in the space. You have ChatGPT.com, OpenAI.com, Perplexity.ai.
Big ones, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Claude.ai, you see Microsoft's Copilot, Gemini.google.com, Bash specifically when it's used as a standalone app outside of the core search engine.
Okay, that's a good distinction.
Plus platforms like Poe.com, WriteSonic.com, and You.com.
Awesome.
Because these platforms operate as distinct domains in the browser, they appear as distinct session source and medium entries. They usually nest right under your generic referral traffic.
Okay, but I have to challenge that based on a massive caveat in Justin's source material.
Go for it.
What about the millions of people using the free, unlogged in, or completely anonymous versions of ChatGPT or Gemini? They still strip referrers for privacy reasons, don't they?
Yes, that is a very accurate point of friction.
Right, because that's a huge chunk of users.
It is. The anonymous and free tier flows for these tools often default to stripping the referrer to comply with strict privacy protocols.
So those sessions will just route right back into your direct traffic bucket, completely invisible.
Yes, they will.
So, if free users are invisible anyway, and they make up the vast majority of the global user base for these chatbots, isn't this entire tracking exercise just catching a tiny, statistically insignificant fraction of the actual traffic?
I hear that pushback a lot.
Like, is it even worth the engineering effort to build a tracking system for a minority of users?
That is the exact trap many analytics teams fall into, and it's a really dangerous assumption to make.
How so?
Yes, you are losing the anonymous free tier users, but think critically about the profile of a logged-in paid user on an AI platform.
Okay.
These are the power users. They are enterprise professionals conducting deep vendor research, or, developers querying technical API documentation, or executives evaluating SaaS platforms.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. Cleaning up the visible channels, the logged-in traffic, provides an instant, highly targeted sample size of your most valuable prospects.
That reframes the value entirely. You're intentionally isolating the signal from the noise.
Exactly.
You might not see the casual user asking a chatbot for a weekend itinerary, but you are absolutely capturing the enterprise buyer who is logged into ChatGPT Plus, doing aggressive competitive research on your product.
Precisely. Seeing real high-intent user behavior from a fraction of your most valuable audience is vastly superior to just throwing your hands up and accepting total blindness.
Okay, I'm sold. If we were intentionally going after this high-intent power user traffic, how do we systematically catch it? Because honestly, I refuse to manually comb through my GA4 standard reports looking for 10 different domain names every Monday morning.
Oh, nobody has time for that. You need to automate the capture using a regular expression or regex filter. It essentially acts as a permanent net.
Rejects the syntax that always looks like someone fell asleep on their keyboard.
It really does.
How do we structure it for GA4 specifically without breaking the system?
Well, the critical constraint here, and this is where most analysts fail, is that GA4 caps your regex rules at exactly 256 characters.
Wait, only 256?
Yep.
You cannot just dump every single AI tool in existence into the string. You have to be incredibly strategic.
So you have to prioritize.
Exactly. You build a single, highly efficient net that tells GA4 to look for a match among the top players. You start with a case-insensitive modifier, use your wildcards, and list out the domains using standard pipe symbols.
So it's like ChatGPT.com, pipeopenai.com, pipeperplexity.ai.
You got it. You string together those core ones, Claude.ai, Copilot.microsoft.com, Gemini.google.com, Poe.com, WriteSonic.com, and you.com.
So instead of hitting the processing limits of GA4 by overcomplicating the syntax, we focus strictly on the domains that drive 90% of the measurable volume.
Exactly. Keep it lean.
Makes sense. So where do we deploy this regex string to actually visualize the data?
You construct a free-form exploration in GA4.
Okay, an exploration.
Yeah, because standard out-of-the-box reports aggregate data way too aggressively for this kind of forensic work. In an exploration, you want to pull in a very specific set of dimensions.
Which ones? Session source medium, page refer, landing page plus query string, device category, and date.
Pause right there. Why landing page plus query string? Why not just use the standard landing page URL?
Yeah.
Like, what does the query string actually tell us about the user?
That is a vital detail. AI chatbots frequently append unique tracking parameters or dynamic query strings to the deep links they generate in their citations.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a core part of how they process outbound routing. So by intentionally including the query string in your dimension, you are capturing a digital fingerprint. It helps you instantly differentiate a user who organically navigated to your pricing page from a user who clicked a highly specific AI-generated citation link.
It's like finding a microscopic tracking serial number on the package.
Exactly.
And what metrics are we applying to those dimensions once we have the fingerprints?
You want to measure sessions, engaged sessions, average engagement time, and key events. You take that 256-character regex string we built, and you apply it as an include filter on the session source dimension.
Right.
And now your exploration isolates only the traffic driven by those specific AI tools.
And when you put that AI data side by side with your standard organic traffic, I imagine the behavioral differences are pretty staggering.
Oh, they represent completely different paradigms of web navigation.
Yeah, I always think of traditional website architecture like a corporate office building.
Right.
Like a standard organic visitor searches for your brand, walks through the front doors into the main lobby, which is your homepage, and then looks at the directory to figure out which department they need to visit.
That's the classic user journey.
But AI traffic doesn't do that at all.
Yeah.
AI traffic skips the lobby entirely. It takes a private helicopter and lands directly on a specific balcony on the 4th floor.
I love that analogy because the AI bot has already done the heavy lifting of navigation for them.
Right.
They asked a hyper-specific question, the bot synthesized the answer from across the web, and it served up your most obscure, deep-level page as the primary source of truth.
So they bypass all of your carefully crafted marketing fluff and go straight to your API documentation or, a highly technical support article or a specific feature comparison chart.
Exactly. Their intent is incredibly high by the time they arrive.
Which means if you're tracking key events in that exploration, you should theoretically see a much higher conversion rate from these deep linked AI sessions.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't realize this is AI traffic, you might look at your analytics and think your homepage is failing to retain visitors.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
When in reality, your highest value users simply don't need your homepage anymore.
That's a huge mindset shift. But, okay, an exploration is fantastic for a solo analyst doing a deep dive. But how do we institutionalize this insight?
What do you mean?
Like, how do I make sure the CMO and the executive team see this AI traffic in their daily dashboard without forcing them to learn regex?
Good point. To make it a permanent fixture in your strategic reporting, you have to create a custom channel group in your GA4 admin settings. You create a new group, name it something unambiguous like AI referrals, and set the condition to session source matches regex, pasting in that exact same 256-character string.
But wait, the architecture of GA4 channel groups is notoriously rigid. If you don't order this correctly, the whole thing completely breaks, doesn't it?
Yes. The order of operations is the single biggest point of failure in this entire process.
I knew it.
GA4 evaluates channel rules from the top down exactly like a waterfall.
Right.
If your generic referral channel is sitting higher in the list than your new AI referrals channel, the system will look at an incoming click from Perplexity, say, yep, that's a referral, categorize it as generic, and stop processing entirely.
So the data will never reach your custom AI rule.
Never. You must manually drag the AI referrals group above the generic referral group in the admin list.
Okay, so the AI net has to sit at the top of the waterfall to catch the specific fish before they wash into the generic lake.
Beautifully said.
Thanks. But let's zoom back out for a second. This custom channel brilliantly solves the third-party tool problem. the ChatGPTs and the Claudes.
Right.
But it does absolutely nothing for the Google AI mode problem we discussed at the beginning. Because Google strips the refer before it even hits the waterfall.
That's true.
So how do we estimate that massive chunk of shadow traffic?
For the Google shadow traffic, you have to step outside of GA4 entirely. You need to triangulate the data between GA4 and Google Search Console, or GSC.
Okay, so cross-referencing.
Yeah. You are essentially looking for glaring discrepancies between what Google claims it served and what GA4 claims it received.
Well, I have to challenge this approach.
Go ahead.
GSC data is notoriously delayed. It can take 48 hours, sometimes longer, for clicks to fully populate in Search Console, whereas GA4 processes data in near real time.
Right.
How can you accurately triangulate side by side when the two platforms are living in entirely different time zones? Isn't that a recipe for a data-driven panic attack?
That is a very valid critique, and it is precisely why you cannot do this analysis on a daily granular level.
Ah, okay.
You cannot compare a Tuesday in GA4 to a Tuesday in GSC on a Wednesday morning. It won't work.
So what's the time frame?
You have to look at aggregated date ranges, like a rolling 14-day or 30-day window where the reporting delays smooth out and the macro trends become visible.
So we're looking for macro trends, not daily micro fluctuations.
Yes, please.
Walk me through the actual methodology of finding the shadow traffic then.
Let's say you have a highly technical blog post. Anecdotally, it's been showing up frequently in Google AI overviews.
Okay.
You pull a 30-day report in Google Search Console, and you see that clicks to that specific URL have jumped by 40% compared to the previous month.
A massive win on paper.
Yes, on paper. But then you open GA4 for that exact same 30-day window, and in GA4, the organic search traffic for that specific page is completely flat.
Ouch.
It hasn't moved an inch. However, if you look at the direct traffic for that specific page, it has climbed by roughly that same 40%.
Wow. Okay.
You also have to make sure you are aligning the precise canonical URLs across both platforms so the comparison is exact. But that delta, that glaring mismatch between the clicks Search Console sent and the organic traffic GA4 recorded, that is your shadow Google AI mode traffic.
That is fascinating. You are literally finding the invisible traffic by measuring the negative space it leaves behind in the data.
It's all about the negative space.
And the stakes for getting this right are astronomical. If you don't isolate this shadow traffic, you are going to massively misattribute the success of your entire marketing engine.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you're going to see direct traffic spiking and think your new billboard campaign is crushing it. Or, your email newsletter is suddenly driving unprecedented engagement.
Exactly. You end up doubling down on the wrong marketing channels because your attribution model is fundamentally flawed.
If you treat AI traffic as just generic direct or organic visitors, you are going to react 12 to 18 months too late to how your buyers are actually making purchasing decisions.
You'll be optimizing your website for a reality that literally evaporated in 2024.
It's terrifying.
It really is. And beyond triangulation, you should aggressively take control of the traffic sources you actually own.
What do you mean by that?
Like if your company deploys an internal chatbot on your site, or you have an AI assistant guiding users through your help documentation, do not let those links default to direct traffic. Tag them with UTM parameters.
Make them declare themselves.
Force them to identify themselves, exactly.
Absolutely. Append a tag like .utm source Gemini and Medium Assistant to any internal link you control.
Yeah.
Keep the flows you actually own out of the mystery bucket, so it becomes significantly easier to triangulate the third-party shadow traffic you can't control.
That is excellent defensive strategy. But before everyone listening pauses this deep dive to go build custom channels and UTMs, we really need to address the blast radius.
The blast radius.
Because if you mess up this configuration, you can permanently corrupt your analytics.
Okay, yikes. Where does this setup blow up in your face? What are the traps?
Trap number one is assuming all traffic from an AI domain is an actual human being. The reality is that many of these AI platforms deploy aggressive web scrapers and automated crawlers that mimic AI referrals in order to aggressively index your content.
So it's about pretending to be a human using a bot.
Exactly. If you open your exploration and see a massive 1,000-session spike in traffic from an AI domain, but the average engagement time is 0 seconds and there are 0 key events,
Yeah.
you did not just go viral on ChatGPT. A scraper just indexed your server.
Oh, man.
You must ruthlessly filter by engagement metrics before reporting these numbers to leadership.
You definitely don't want to tell the board of directors that Perplexity is driving massive pipeline when it's literally just a server pinging your sitemap.
That's a fast way to lose credibility.
For sure. What's the second trap?
Overbroad regex rules. The temptation is always to cast the widest net possible. An analyst might think, I'll just write a rule that catches the letters A and I anywhere in the referring URL.
Oh, that sounds catastrophic for data integrity.
It destroys your data instantly. Suddenly, legitimate referral traffic from a domain like retail.com or airways.com gets hijacked by your AI channel simply because those two letters sit next to each other in the URL.
Oh, wow, yeah. Error WAIS.
Yep. You have to restrict your rejects to exact domain matching, just like the string we discussed earlier.
Which means sloppy AI detection is arguably more dangerous than having no AI detection at all. You are trading blindness for, like, full-blown hallucinations.
That is a very accurate way to frame it. And the final major trap is double counting.
How does that happen?
We frequently see marketing teams create a custom UTM campaign for an AI partnership while simultaneously running a regex rule that targets the same domain.
Ah, overlapping rules.
Right. If the GA4 channel priorities aren't configured perfectly, the system can misattribute or duplicate those sessions, creating an absolute mess in your attribution modeling.
And tracing back those errors manually across thousands of rows of data is a complete nightmare.
It's practically impossible.
Which brings us to the ultimate solution highlighted in the source material. The automated audit. Justin Gomes outlines a tool called GA4.ai, engineered by Ninopal, designed to completely automate this diagnostic process. How does it actually interact with your GA4 architecture?
It basically acts as an automated diagnostic layer. Instead of you manually hunting for overlapping UTMs or, testing regex strings in a sandbox.
Which takes hours.
Right. GA4.ai interrogates the structural integrity of your data pipeline directly. It scans your property setup.
Okay.
It identifies broken GA4 tags, flags missing or malformed regex rules, highlights conflicting UTM parameters, and critically, it audits your default channel settings to ensure your new AI group is actually positioned correctly at the top of the waterfall to catch the traffic.
Let's contextualize that for the listener. Imagine a mid-sized B2B SaaS company. Their leadership team sees direct sessions rising by 20%, but their branded search volume is completely flat. They're totally stumped.
So they plug into the automated audit, and it instantly flags that they have 0 AI custom channels configured, their regex is missing entirely, and their legacy UTMs are overriding what little referral data does come through.
A total mess.
Yeah, but the team fixes those structural gaps, and literally overnight, platforms like Perplexity and Claude are exposed as top-tier referrers.
Wow. The intent-rich traffic was sitting there the entire time. It was just passing right through the net because the net was built with gaping holes.
Exactly.
It's turning the invisible into the actionable just by enforcing basic configuration hygiene.
Precisely. Because even though GA4 doesn't magically label Google AI mode for you yet, you simply cannot afford to let the rest of your AI traffic hide because of basic fixable configuration errors.
So bringing all of these mechanics together, here's the ultimate takeaway for you listening today. We are living in early 2026. GA4 is not going to hand you your Google AI mode data with a neat little bow on it.
Definitely not.
If you want to understand how artificial intelligence is fundamentally reshaping your business pipeline, you have to build the infrastructure yourself. You need strict 256-character regex filters. You need properly prioritized custom channel groups at the top of your waterfall. You have to aggressively UPM tag your controllable links. And you have to master the delayed triangulation between GA4 and Google Search Console.
All of the above.
And most importantly, you have to back all of this up with a rigorous automated audit to ensure your net actually holds water. Data quality isn't just a technical metric. It is the entire foundation of your strategic insight.
Which brings us to a much larger, frankly more philosophical question to end on.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Well, we have spent this entire discussion focusing on how to track this new behavior, but we really need to look at the trajectory of the behavior itself.
Okay.
Think about that private helicopter analogy you used earlier.
Right, skipping the lobby.
Right. If these highly qualified AI visitors are consistently bypassing our carefully designed homepages, If they are skipping the visual lobbies and jumping straight into the most dense technical API documentation on our sites with immediate purchase intent,
Where does that actually lead us?
how long until companies simply stop designing websites for human visual navigation altogether?
Whoa.
I mean, if the primary consumer of your website's architecture is no longer a human clicking a mouse, but an AI bot acting as a proxy for that human, we are approaching a horizon where visual marketing becomes completely secondary.
That is wild.
Eventually, we might stop building beautiful digital lobbies entirely and start engineering sites exclusively as raw data nodes to be seamlessly ingested by the machines.
Wow. Think about the implications of that. The package arrives safely, but it doesn't even matter if the return address was scrubbed by a witness protection program. Because the contents of the package aren't meant for human eyes anyway.
Exactly.
It's just bots negotiating with bots.
It is an entirely new architecture for the web.
That is absolutely something to chew on as you look at your next major site redesign. Well, before the machines completely redesign the internet for us, I highly encourage you to go audit your GA4 setup. Make sure you aren't flying blind as AI traffic continues to scale up. Build the net, catch the signal, and stop letting your dashboard gaslight you. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.